What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Prophecy Podcast. I am Obese the Prophet. I'm here tonight with my co-host, as usual. This Justin Martin. What's up, cuz?
What's up?
How goes it? We missed you last week. How was it?
Yeah, sorry about that, man. Yeah, it's just life comes up,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're doing good. We're doing good.
Did you catch the any of the episode at all or whatever?
No, I mean I've been crazy this week too, so I haven't had a chance to go back. So I missed. Who was it last week? Slade.
Slade, yeah, from Phoenix. He was.
Yeah.
We talked about some cool shit. A lot of music stuff too. So, pretty good episode that we had there. But yeah, I mean it's up. You can obviously check it out whenever on whatever you
for sure.
check it on. But yeah, so let's get into it. We got to shout out our sponsors first and foremost. The Prophecy Podcast is proudly sponsored by MPC Stuff. They have hundreds of replacement and upgrade products for any MPC or other Akai machine. They have fast shipping and quality products. I personally stand behind all their products, and I respect our partnership with them tremendously. Secondly, we've got I Regret Nothing Apparel. We got the hat right here. Of course, they have some of the best quality materials. They use social messages very well. They got great designs, and we're proud to have them as a sponsor. We stand behind them 100%. I absolutely love that they're a Black-owned Maine small business. It doesn't really get any better than that. So, of course, our smoke break segment, as always, is brought to you by Fire On Fore, which is located at 367 4th Street in the heart of Portland, Maine's Old Port. They have the ultra fine cannabis products that you need and a super friendly and knowledgeable staff to provide you with all your medical cannabis needs. Of course, they're medical only, so make sure you get your card when you go in there. And obviously brought to you by Elevate Music, promotional company, and my record label. We do social media promo, graphic design, production, websites, music videos, literally do it all. If you need help with distribution, just hit us up. And of course, last but not least, we've got Bars Over Bars bringing you the Prophecy Podcast each and every week. We can't thank them enough for the support as we continue to expand content and build the brand. So without further ado, Paranoah in here. Let's welcome him in.
Yo, what's happening, Bars Over Bars? What's up, Prophecy Podcast? What's happening?
How's it going, bro?
Sponsored by Arizona Sweet Tea. Oh shit.
So normally this would be the time when we're like getting into who you are. So just a brief background of where you're from, what kind of got you into music, how long you've been doing it, so on and so forth.
Okay, so I'm from Beverly, Massachusetts originally. That's where my family's from. And I only lived there until I was about 3, and I was mainly raised in New Hampshire. So I was in Danville, New Hampshire, Fremont, mad country. You feel me? But I had that half and half split, being raised between I had a city family and shit, and was raised with those kind of morals and that structure, but also brought up in the country. So I kind of got both worlds going on. And in terms of music and musical influence, I started off really liking heavy metal, Norwegian black metal, 90s punk rock, a lot of Misfits and Bad Brains, and a lot of aggressive, loud shit. My uncle, actually, Jason, he's the one that put me on to a lot of the hip hop coming up and a lot of music, and he was in a band himself, and that inspired me to take my shit seriously. He was in a metal band called Dropkick Jesus. So
that's a perfect name for a metal band, though.
Yeah, I mean, and in terms of influence of my kind of shit and what I like provocative, loud, over the top kind of aesthetic. Yeah. So that's how I came up. Listening to a lot of hip hop more middle school is when I started getting into that more, because I had a classmate that was yo, you hear Like I think it was 36 chambers. Might have been the first shit I heard.
Okay, yeah, fire.
Yeah. So I was like, I heard 36 chambers, and then like, around the same time, and my uncle put me on to like Jedi Mind Tricks, like Company Flow, 7L and Esoteric. A lot of that underground like battle style lyrics,
Yeah.
So I got put into that age, started writing around 13, I think is when I wrote my first rhyme.
Okay.
I might still have it laying around.
What year is that? What's the reference? You're 13. What year?
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm horrible with numbers and math and shit. I don't know. Middle school, it was like 3rd, 4th grade. I'm 24 years old. I don't know how to do the numbers. I was pretty young.
I got you. We put you like mid 2000s, late 2000s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, right in that pocket.
2010 or something like that.
Yeah, that was probably around. Yeah.
Well, you were definitely listening to shit that was well before when you were even conceived of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I was running mad like old shit. My mom was obsessed with like Prince and everything, so I heard like a lot of Prince, and like she had me listening to like Lauryn Hill and what else, Santana and shit. Like
a lot of eclectic shit, man.
All fire.
A lot of inspiration and all that stuff.
Yeah, you can see back there. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we got Adele next to Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Miles Davis.
Yeah.
That's what's
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Though. Is that Aesop Rock over in the corner? Oh shit.
Oh yeah. Labor Days. Yep.
Labor Days. Yeah. Word. So like so you're currently in Massachusetts. You were doing shows, and so what have you been doing since this whole COVID thing? Are you still kind of continuing with shows, or has that kind of been on hold for you, or what's happening with your shows?
So what was shows for the most part? Well, let me bring it back. I think the last show I did, I want to say, was in March.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Bars Over Bars. Sorry, let me reframe that. Outside of Bars Over Bars, the last show I did, it was actually at a rave.
Like shows with like a huge group of people there, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like able to do what you want before COVID. Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before COVID, it was like a rave show. And in Providence, and which I love the rave crowd because they're not afraid to like just fucking like either like mosh out or just I don't know, they're very like open minded too. They're probably like half of them are on Molly or psychedelic, so
so they're down to just ride the wave, man.
Yeah, and I came in there with a bunch of like new like experimental kind of stuff than like my normal, so I was able to like test the ground,
Yep. That's cool though. It's been a long time. It's itching for everybody. It's trying to like get back into doing these real shows. Like you can do virtual shows all you want. It's never really going to be the same. It is fun and it's great to still have that connection, but the connection is completely different. So shout out to live shows. We can't wait for them to come back.
Yeah, Bars Over Bars, it's especially different too when you got people at home performing, I could perform at home with my fucking Tinkerbell mic with the duct tape on it. It's like,
yeah. Shout out to all those venues. May not be around next time we have shows,
Yeah, that's true. That's so sad, man.
Without the shows, there's no venues. Without the venues, there's no shows. It's just it's a crazy fucking situation that we're in. And hopefully by the fall time, we can start talking about being normal again. I'm hoping. I hope, what I'm saying? I'm really hoping for that. But moving on, let's mention some recent strange news. Like normally we just talk about some strange news this time. I know Justin had talked about, you knew a little bit of strange news. I got a little bit of a weird story too. So I don't know if you want to just start off, Justin. But
yeah, so on the 25th, so what was that, Thursday?
Yep.
This story came out. Apparently an American Airlines flight encountered an unidentified flying object. If you've ever heard of those things, they're UFOs. This happened to be over the state of New Mexico. So some crazy shit happens over there in the desert. But
Classic.
yeah,
Classic New Mexico.
American Airlines, that was the company that was, their Airbus or whatever it was. Yeah, it was an Airbus A320. So it's a passenger flight heading over New Mexico. And it was a flight from Cincinnati, and it was going to Phoenix. And this was last Sunday afternoon. It came in contact with a mysterious object at approximately 37,000 feet. I guess they radioed a tower in Albuquerque, and there wasn't anything going on. Like, there was no other flights or anything in their path. And this is the actual transmission. And he says, this is the pilot speaking of this Airbus. He says, "Do you have any targets up here? We just had something go right over the top of us. I hate to say this, but it looked like a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing, moving really fast right over the top of us." Now, granted, they were within like 400 miles of one of those, military test places. But obviously, if they were, testing missiles and rockets, they wouldn't let commercial air flights just fly through their airspace, obviously.
Too, and they said they had nothing going on. I think they reached out to them, and they were like, "No, it wasn't us." But they can lie and shit. But still, it's
it's weird. You would think they'd have like flight coordinates to like a radar. So like, oh yeah, a plane's coming. We're not going to throw a missile in there.
Yeah, right. So American Airlines did confirm that this transmission took place, and the FBI was reached for comment, and they said this was the FAA's short statement. A pilot reported seeing an object over New Mexico shortly after noon local time on Sunday, February 21st, 2021. FAA air traffic controllers did not see any object in the area on their radar scopes. So it wasn't anything commercial or military on our end. It couldn't have been a missile. Had the military base been testing, they wouldn't have allowed that flight to go through that airspace. So the question remains, what the hell was this thing?
Right. And who's telling the truth and what's going on here? So, I mean, it's typical fucking United States, fucking, or any country, I guess. Typical fucking shit you just expect from them.
Scrambling to cover up some weird shit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's some weird ass shit, but I feel like that happens a lot. The story I got here is a fucking weird one. So this lady, her name's Barbara Rogers. She was 46 years old. She was sent to prison in 2019 after she put a bullet through the head of her 32-year-old boyfriend, right through his fucking head, right? So she goes to jail. The judge is like, she's supposed to get 15 to 40 years for the murder. And she comes out and says the reasons why she shot him after she's been convicted. She goes on to say that her and her boyfriend were members of a deranged online doomsday cult. They were convinced that an extraterrestrial race of devil-worshipping reptilian shapeshifters were looking to install Antichrist himself as the supreme ruler of Earth. There's so
some oddly specific shit.
Exactly. So the crime
sounds right up my alley.
The crime itself did take place back in 2017. On that day, Rogers, an Army veteran discharged for medical reasons, and Mineo were both staying. Mineo's the boyfriend. They were both staying at a shared apartment in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. Over the course of the day, the odd couple got into an argument, according to Senior Judge John Massamo. Their affiliation with the Doomsday had been causing friction in the relationship for quite some time. So the leader of the cult started accusing the boyfriend of being a reptilian to the girlfriend, right? Saying he's a reptilian. We need to get rid of him.
Shit.
So she, this is going on constantly, right? So she tells the authorities that the boyfriend was like, if I'm reptilian, I can't live on with myself or whatever. And he places the gun to his head and tells her to pull the trigger of a 45 caliber pistol. And she did. And she waited 20 minutes after he was dead to call 911.
Just to make sure.
Right. As she said, sure, his reptilian body was going to come back to life.
He's gonna fucking respawn.
She appealed that 15 to 40-year sentence. She appealed it, and she just was like, I want to appeal it on the basis that it's my religious right or whatever, and I was doing my religious duty. And the judge was like, you know what? No.
Good for that judge. Good for that judge.
Is what he said. And he said the circumstances around this case were some of the most disturbing details that had ever emerged, he said. And he was like, if he was to allow it in his court, it would just be ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the craziest story I've heard recently. That was back on just a couple days ago on the 26th. They put that out. But a lot of this happened in 2019. But the appeal was just last week.
Mm-hmm. I mean, see, that's the thing with cults that's funny, man, is like, I mean, like if you do your history on like Charles Manson and shit, right? Yeah. And it's like he didn't actually like physically, like he didn't kill anybody, but he brainwashed these hippie girls and had them take acid and shit and had them do all like the dirty work, you know what I mean? And it is this weird thing, like when we're talking about like religion and belief is like where is the line drawn? Like if these people, like if it's consensual, like she was saying, like she was like, oh well, you know, he was fucking reptilian, you know, because you know she read too many David Icke books or whatever it was.
Yeah, her reality, that was real to her, at least from her story. But we don't know if the story she's telling is how she was really feeling, if it's just something she's saying.
Or maybe there was some like someone was like fucking with the cult leader, or like
if someone truly felt that way, like someone was a danger like that, then there are other avenues. Maybe you attempt first, you know what I'm saying? Before he puts a gun to his head and you're like, all right, I'll pull the trigger for you, bud. No problems. Not just talk him out of it. Like, wait a second, you know, are you sure? Like, is there blood tests we can take to see if you're a reptilian? Any kind of fucking insight just before we blow your head off, you know, anything to try to talk him out of it. I think if that would have been the case, maybe the judge could have seen things differently. But then again, how do you prove that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, that is a funny.
Because he slapped the shit out of her last Thursday, and you know,
she has enough of it.
Yeah, exactly. You never really know. That's what I'm saying. That's why she's got to stay behind bars. Comes out with the crazy ass story after, like, I didn't want to say this because I look crazy. Well, either way, you look crazy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you shot someone on the fucking head. I mean, what do you want?
Right. At this point is all that means.
Yeah, that cult's responsible for that cylinder going over that airplane. That's why I think.
Probably, yeah. It was that fucking guy flying around in the air.
Yeah. Or some astronaut dropped the fucking Snicker bar from outer space. I don't know what happened.
Word. So so what about the what's like your first project that you ever put out, like, and who influenced you early on? I know we talked about influences, but like, you know, I'm talking about influences as far as like you said you were in a band, so you did a little bit of band. Did you play an instrument specifically, or more than one instrument?
When I was a kid, I did a little bit of drums. It's like my dad got me a drum set early on and shit. So I did a little bit of drums, nothing crazy. You know, I never took like any like classes or anything. Outside of that, I have a pretty good scream. I also, but more of a vocalist at the end of the day, or wordsmith, you know. But I mean, outside of music and influences, I've always been inspired by like different writers, you know, and certain inventors or like influencers in general, you know, that have inspired my writing, you know, and the direction it takes.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, was there a specific artist, project, song that influenced you to go more towards the hip hop? Or because you have so many different inspirations and, you know, interests, what was it about hip hop that made you go that way?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. I would say the first artist, like the one that made me go like, oh shit, like this makes more sense in terms for me in my head in terms of like self-expression. It was probably Biggie. Was probably the first one. you know, also because I was like a fat kid, so I was like, hey, you know. Oh, like, oh shit, I could be fat and still get bitches, all right, you know. Maybe Sue will kiss
Hell
me
yeah.
after school lunch, you know. An extra chocolate
With
milk.
those Lunchables.
Yeah, the Lunchables, yo. Got that side pocket pop out on it. I would say it was probably Biggie was the first one that made me like really gear my ear to it and be like, oh, like I heard like Suicidal Thoughts and like Warning and like Unbelievable, and I was like, this dude's like saying shit that's like, it's making me laugh. It's thought provoking, and it painted more of a picture than other genres for me.
Mhm.
You know, in terms of like even like song structure. Like I could get in the mood for stuff, but I just once I heard hip hop, I was like, man, like I could say fucking anything, and it's like, and it's also like hip hop has a competitive spirit for it, and I'm naturally a very competitive person. I always have been, so I always liked being that dude that like gets on like, you know, when I rap and shit. I like to try to like outdo motherfuckers and be more on like that battle type tip, you know.
Okay.
Hell yeah. So yeah, great question. What about like your first project? Like how old were you when you put your first project out? And tell us a little bit about that first project.
So my first project I put out about wait, how old am I? All right, so I was 18, and it was on SoundCloud under an alias. And it was when I went by Paranormal at the time. My first rap name was MC Knight, actually. Fun fact, Knight with a K, because I was trying to be cute and shit. And I thought I had like a ill crush on MC Light, so I was like, oh, MC Light, MC Knight. I was like trying to do like this is fucking ridiculous. But my first project, it was called the Padded Brain Cell EP.
Okay.
Under Paranormal, and you know, it's now not online, and no, since I try erasing that from history. I have a few copies laying around.
Yeah, I got some.
It was terrible, man. It was all remixes. You know, I remixed like Just Don't Give a Fuck, Cage's song Agent Orange, like a couple Company Flow beats, like just like the underground shit I liked, some MF Doom stuff, and
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
yeah, rest in peace, Doom. Bro, he's a huge influence on my shit.
Yeah,
Doom, for sure.
Hell
Yeah. And that album, it was like, I think it was 8 songs. It was like 8 tracks, and some of them were only like 1 verse long. Like it was like I had no idea, man. Oh my god. Oh, I gotta dig up those files and just fucking look back at it.
Yeah, to see the progress. Be like, oh my god, oh my goodness. Yeah, man. I had some projects like that. A couple of them. Probably like from like I was still in high school when I was putting shit out, and I had a lot of people that would say shit is good, and it probably wasn't. It was just like not that great. They're like, oh, I love this shit, and I'm like, yeah. And I think that the like the vision and the idea was good. It you know, started that way where I know that when I was making it, I had good ideas, and like, you know, you could see the vision for it and be like, this could maybe potentially be better if you're actually fucking like, you know, in a nice studio and you're having you're taking more time to do it. But it always seemed like a lot of shit would be rushed, and being self-taught to record everything when I was like fucking 15 or 16 years old at home on a fucking old 486 computer, dude, which before the fucking Pentium, there was this like baby computer. It couldn't process shit, barely could run fucking Wolfenstein on that thing. And I was making like beats on FL Studio or Fruity Loops like 2 back when it first fucking came out, and recording my vocals in Gold Wave over the top of the beat, and like hoping I could
try to mix them together afterwards.
Together and make them through Gold Wave, which is basically cool started if you don't know. So like you can come from like humble ass fucking crazy beginnings and actually progress and grow. It's all about that whole fucking time frame from when you started to where you're at, and piecing all that shit together and making that who you're at, where you're at right now.
Exactly. Like life experiences too, you know what I mean? I found there's like different things. Like for me, I didn't even know like 100%. Like I don't know. Like I always knew I wanted to do like music in some form, but I mean, honestly, like I was lost for a while, so I didn't really know until I was like 18. Like, oh yeah, like I'm actually gonna do this shit. You know?
Yeah, but you had been, like you said, since 13 or whatever kind of.
Yeah.
It was like you were
like fucking around.
But me, when I did it, I started off like fucking. I was like, I think we were like, if I'm not mistaken, we were like
15 or 16,
summer,
I think.
One summer, and Eminem's album had just dropped recently. I think it was that summer, '99.
Yeah.
Eminem's album dropped, and we're like in the pool, and we're just like fucking around, stupid freestyle rapping. And I'm like, bro, Eminem can fucking make it at rap and be like this white kid from whatever suburbia, even though we don't really know much about him, Just like this fucking white kid can make it at rap, and then fucking so can I. Like,
and say a bunch of crazy shit.
So like, that's kind of where it started, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, nowadays, I think the market is just so fucking just convoluted with fucking artists, dude. It's hard to find decent ones that put out consistent shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's huge. Is like finding a way, and that's what I spent a long time doing, and that's why I haven't put a lot of shit out these past few years up until really like this past year, because I was building my sound, and like I was like, okay, how am I gonna cut through all this noise and all these other artists? Like, what am I gonna bring that's different? And sometimes we overthink, and it could be simple as like, oh, just be yourself, as it's cliche, but like I started really just digging into like who the fuck I am, or who I think I am.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, start off and you have like this this persona that you're trying to be, you know what I'm saying? It could definitely come across the complete fucking wrong way. I do think that when you're more real with yourself and you project your realness and you write from a real point of view, the music just comes easier. First off,
oh my god,
what you're saying just comes so much easier. It's good to be lyrical, but there has to be a base there that's kind of telling a story in a way, or letting at least information be known. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think that if you're telling the real shit, it makes a huge difference. Whereas if you're just like rapping shit because that's what everybody else is rapping, it's not as good. It's just bubble type shit.
And I think that's part of the journey for a lot of these artists, is they come out with this, this conception of who they want to be, or they see somebody that they, that they're into, and they try to emulate that. And then as they get better and better, they find, their own voice and, their own twist on things. And that's when, the shit really clicks and they take off,
Yeah, that's a very common thing you hear all the time. And like, in terms of influences too, I was always attracted to like, of course, because he was like the most relatable for me, like with my kind of like upbringing too, of just kind of being in a little bit of a wonky kind of crazy family, coming up around just like a lot of noise and everything in the house. But I was always attracted to, aside from M, it was like Old Dirty Bastard, like Redman, Aesop, like when I started getting into the underground shit like Doom, but like really abstract ways of expression,
Yeah.
Artists where when they get on the beat, you can't mistake them for anybody else. And that was the thing I was trying to create for the longest. I was like, okay, let me like gargle like vodka so I could sound like DMX, or I was trying to like destroy my voice. We try to emulate shit.
It's just you can't sound like him.
Right.
Yeah, you can't. You just gotta do you.
Exactly. Word. So yeah. All right. So what is we like to talk about unexplained phenomena and shit like that on the show from time time. So, out of the unexplained phenomenon choices that we have in the entire world, what are some of your favorites? Like, is it UFOs, Bigfoot, werewolves, zombies, ghosts, Bermuda Triangle, fucking JFK, 9/11? You know, what is these weird things that you like, your personal favorites? And of these weird things, do you have any like personal experiences with any of that stuff? Like, let us know.
Well, I met Tupac out in Cuba. No. Nah. Man, my favorite. Oh shit, that's hard. I mean, I could kind of like boil it down into like my like primary like interest, you know, and it kind of actually plays into you know, my actual stage name. I've always been obsessed with the occult and paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And like the idea that if you just bring it to the point of like a Ouija board, for example, you have mad people that are fucking paranoid as shit about it, and it's still to this day people still question whether, you know, they're like, oh, can you actually contact spirits on the Ouija board, or is this some kind of like thing that's used by like fabricated clerics to like, you know, kind of gyp people that come into Salem, Massachusetts, and be like, oh, this is gonna happen, you know, like, you know. I've always been but obsessed with the other side, with death in particular, and because that's like something, again, like one of the things we always philosophize about throughout history and try to figure out, and you know, it's that one thing that's just like unanswered that we just don't know. Like everybody could act like they know, like, oh, I'm gonna be reincarnated into a butterfly, or you know, then there's people that are like, when you die, there's just fucking worms in your head and that's it. And then you got people that are like, I'm gonna be welcomed into the pearly gates, or whatever their understanding is of it. You know,
Right.
I'm on that fence where like you know, I'm sure that our bodies will be absorbed into the earth. I know that, you know, or whatever, get burnt, and where that's it. That's when our time here on this earth ends, I believe. However, what I'm not 100% sure of is if, you know, our souls or our energy is able to continue on in some form or fashion, whether it's like from just energy, residual energy that's been left behind from our lives on the planet, or however that works. I do kind of believe in that in a way. I'm just not sure of how it all works. You know what I mean? But I do think that I'm not very religious. I don't know. I call myself atheist a lot, but you know, I wouldn't go out and pray. I don't do that shit. I kind of believe in aliens. I believe that there's got to be some sort of life forms out there somewhere amongst the vastness of fucking the universe. But I'm just not a believer in things unless it's like something that can be proven, something I can, you know, see and touch and feel or whatever. I just can't buy into it. That's just me. And but the thing about it is I respect everybody's beliefs. I don't care, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me because I know mine and I'm strong with my beliefs. So, you know, people don't try to sway me much, and I wouldn't do that either. Like I wouldn't walk up to somebody just because they believe in God and be like, you know, God does.
There ain't no fucking wizard in the sky. Like you want to come at him like that.
At the end of the day, if that's what helps them get by, get through to the next day, then that's really, I guess, that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's all I think too. Is I don't know. Like when it comes to religion and belief, like I don't care like what someone believes, long as it's like it's not imposing no shit on me, and like I won't impose shit on other people. You know what I mean? Like I have like my viewpoints on everything, and I am strongly opinionated when it comes to like organized religion. You know, but I kind of keep that shit to me, or like I'll sprinkle in shit in my music of how I feel about it. You know.
Same thing. Every once in a while, I'll say it like in pretty sure on one of these verses I have coming out on live resin that I did with Libsy. I say that, you know what I'm saying? I talk about I'm an atheist or whatever. I don't believe in either or, you know what I'm saying? It's like because I don't, but that doesn't mean that you can't, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, fucking great story about Ouija boards, bro, from me coming back when I was in fucking, this is a crazy ass story. When I was in high school, I might have been 9th or 10th grade. I was staying at a buddy of mine's house, Kevin Danis. I don't know if you remember Kevin Danis from Arundel, Justin at all. If you've ever been to partied with him maybe back in the day. But I was there spending the night over there one night. We were drinking fucking Mike's Hard Lemonade. It was like when it first came out. We were just in high school, you know what I'm saying? And his sister and her friend was there, and me and him and another friend of ours, John Eric was his name. And we're sitting around at the house, you know, just drinking, whatever, listening to music. She starts mentioning something about a Ouija board. We're all like, bring the fucking Ouija board out, you know? It's like, let's check it out. And
that white girl shit.
She's like,
100%.
This fucking Ouija board she grabs is like the oldest fucking Ouija board I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? It's like Ouija boards I knew were like cardboard one, it like folded up and shit like that. This one she brought out and like this
made out of human skin.
Yeah, like, I think it wasn't a cardboard. I don't know what it was in for a case. I just bought a solid piece of wood. It didn't fold or anything. It was just one solid piece of wood.
I have one of those.
Yeah, and the little thing that went on it was like made of metal and shit. It wasn't plastic or whatever. That little piece that goes on there, like so, it was like tin or something. It was just really old and creepy looking, right? And I remember saying like, "How fucking old is this fucking thing?" She was like, "My grandmother's or some shit was hers."
Oh, fuck.
It was in the attic at this house we were at, right? So I'm like,
"Where it was? Where else would it be?"
I was like, "Where this is already creepy, right?" Because they were cleaning up the attic that day and they found it and they thought it'd be funny, right? So they're like going on with this shit and they're like asking questions and you can tell like so and so's moving it or whatever. You're just like,
sounds like a bad horror movie.
Yeah. So like, you know, you can tell someone's fucking moving it and we're just like doing dumb shit and then all of a sudden somebody's like fucking ask some weird shit like somebody who are we speaking to us and they gave some fucking weird name like some Latin name like Enoch or I don't know some fucking weird ass and, I start looking around because I knew I wasn't moving that shit. I thought someone else might have been and everybody's looking at everybody else and you can tell that everybody's kind of wondering who's moving it and like so we're like well, all right, we knew for the last ones you were fucking moving it, right? Kevin's like, bro, I didn't fucking move it. I'm like, you were moving it though for this one, right? He's like, no, I wasn't moving it. So we're like, what the fuck? So he started asking other shit, you know, and it's like told us to get out. I know one of the responses was told us to get out. So they get freaked the fuck out. They're like, we got a fucking idea. Fuck this Ouija board. Let's drive down to Kennebunkport, which wasn't far away, and let's go out on the jetty and let's fucking frisbee this thing into the fucking ocean. Just fuck this.
Nice.
Right? So we're like, fuck it.
Great idea.
Jump in the fucking thing. We drive down the fucking jetty. It's like close to midnight, whatever. We toss this motherfucker like a frisbee out into the fucking and into the fucking water, and we're like, good, done with it. Go back home, or to their place, right? Hang out, rest of the night, whatever, go to bed. Get up the next fucking morning, and the mother's cooking breakfast and shit. We come down, well, it probably was like more like 11 o'clock. She's cooking eggs and shit with bacon. We get up, we're like, hey, all hungover, like gonna get some breakfast, and the motherfucking Ouija board is sitting on the kitchen table, bro. The same fucking Ouija board, bro. Wow, and she says to the fucking the sister, she says, "You guys left the Ouija board out last night." I remember looking at Kevin like, "Bro, did we not go down there last night? Was that a fucking? Did we imagine that?" And he's just like looking at me. And for the longest time, I thought it was like this prank that you know they orchestrated. But like to this day, I can't prove that they did. They were like. Literally, Kevin was like, he wanted to move out of his own home. He's like,
you gotta live in a tent out back.
Yeah, I was just like, damn, I'm glad I don't live here. And actually, that was like one of the last times I ever stayed over there. Like, I never felt comfortable like going back over there after that. That's how crazy that was. It shook me for a long time. I still will tell people, don't fuck with a Ouija board. Just don't do it. It's not even worth it because you never know. It could be for fun and games, but you just never know what's even if your beliefs are like, man, someone else's might be real strong, and that could be enough to happen. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I believe I believe like the placebo effect could like whether it is that or not, like because it's almost like the way I like comparing it to, and like with the discussion of like paranormal or cults, like people will be like, oh, like like devil worshiping is like, or like Satanist or whatever their understanding of it is. It's like, oh, there's no such thing as Satan, so I'm not afraid of this, or it doesn't actually have an effect. But the power of belief is strong within itself, whether it's real or not to you. Like you could like if you walk into some satanic ritual or some shit and you get your ass put over a fire with an apple in your mouth, like that's there's like real danger with people that believe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. For real.
Hey, and just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's
Belief
my
is
take.
like what can, and a lot of times that energy of that belief is like what makes it real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That can bring
Very
shit.
much.
Just the energy, like the whole idea of like thinking things to light and shit like that. Where if you think enough about shit, it happens and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that law of attraction.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy ass thing. Like I remember driving around town one time, and I was like a long time before I saw my buddy Sam Smead, who's a dude who made music down there in Southern Maine or whatever. And I'm like, God, I ain't seen Sam Smead in so fucking long. I'm driving around. I was a weed delivery driver, so I drove all the time, like literally through all fucking types of towns and that I
everywhere.
if he was driving, like I should have saw him, you know what I'm saying? Because he was a delivery driver for a pizza place. So literally, I should have seen him, you know what I'm saying? But I never ever did. And I'm thinking one day, like, because I was listening to some music we made in the car, like that from like years ago. Damn, I ain't seen him in a long time. Blah 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 blah. I pull up to the fucking light. This motherfucker is at the light across from me. I'm sitting there now. I'm listening to the music with him on it, and like it's like these small coincidences that I just sometimes I'm like, how the fuck does that even happen? Because mathematically speaking, coincidences shouldn't happen.
Yep.
If it was a truly random world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coincidences don't happen. So I'm always thinking of shit like that, seeing random things that people might not pick up on or whatever. Like I pick up on a lot of fucking shit, and I'm always like, that's fucking weird.
What's your opinion on simulation theory?
Oh, I love it. It's a great theory. I think it's a great fucking theory. It explains a lot. Like if you break it down as if you're playing GTA right now, but we're GTA 25, right? We're not on 5 anymore. We're on GTA 25, and you got a fucking universe you can control, right? You're just like, or you know, another good fucking thing about that is the that theory is like, what if we are like ourselves or a version of ourselves, but we are playing, you know, simulation of ourselves, and when we're done, it's just like we disconnect from the fucking game. Like when we're dead, disconnected. What are you gonna do now? You're gonna fucking restart?
Yeah, if you load your game, can I go back and like lose my virginity again?
Yeah, do you respawn?
Right.
Yeah.
Somewhere else, like as someone completely different with no memory of what fucking happened. Or is it just like, you know what I'm saying? If we can produce what we can do right now, I can't imagine like if the Earth can survive what in 500 years, what kind of simulations will be able to be run. You know what I mean?
Like if you look at video games, for example, like it makes you think, man, like, okay, we're able from our understanding and our current knowledge we have, right? Is like, okay, we could program, we got the PlayStation 5, we can make Final Fantasy 7 look fucking amazing now or whatever, right? And then it's like, but if aliens, obviously, if they do visit us or whatever, they obviously are a more advanced technological species. So how do we know that we're just a creation of theirs? You feel me? Like their programming got so ill that they just made a planet and now we're the fucking Sims. You know?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it too. Same fucking thing. Like we were put here for a purpose at first, but then the purpose was served and he just left us here. Like, all right, see you guys later. You guys can fucking deal with it now at this point. See how long you last. Another thing too is like maybe this has happened before. You know, maybe fucking civilization got this fucking far, and then they were just like, all right, let's hit a reset and go all the way the fuck back, and it starts over. And then, dude, if you take everything that's on the Earth right now and you wait 5,000 years, like it's not going to be there anymore. The wood's gonna be gone, the fucking metal's all going to be gone. It's just going to be gone. Turns to dust, carbon, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It'll all there'll be no traces of it. So who the fuck's to say it hasn't happened before? Who the fuck's to say we haven't had advanced civilizations here before and it's just turned to dust?
We just keep fucking up.
Yeah, keep fucking up, keep turning to dust, just restarting. Because once everything like disappears, and like if we disappear, the Earth heals. You know what I'm saying? So life goes on, as twisted as it may be. It does.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy shit. Yep. Hell yeah. All right. So right now let's talk about top fives. So like what are your top 5 artists? It doesn't have to be hip hop though. Like what are your top 5?
It doesn't have to be hip hop?
Top 5 bands, artists, whatever you want, whichever, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Except country, because country doesn't matter.
Oh shit. Okay. This is good because this goes in so many different pockets. All right.
Yes. Front, back.
Top 5.
Yeah, it could be. It doesn't have to be of all time. Could be right now.
Okay. I'm gonna make it hard for myself and try to do all time, all around like influences
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
from every pocket of the world. Okay, so my favorite author is Chuck Palahniuk. He wrote Fight Club, Invisible Monsters. What else? Choke. I just read a book from him called The Invention of Sound. And he's one of my biggest influences because he's always pushed the boundaries on like what you're supposed to say, or like he's always had like that satirical twist and kind of like poking fun at society and like
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, I like the trickster, the jokester kind of, you know, character types. So I would say Chuck Palahniuk is one. I would say 2 would have to be Aleister Crowley. A lot of his writing to me was very, very ahead of its time. Like if you read The Drug, which is the first documented, like the first story like written about like psychedelics that was like published, and his experience with psychedelics and communicating with the alligator gods or whatever the fuck he thought back then.
Yeah.
Well, you can get shot for that shit.
Yeah, so I'm like, he was, you know, that dude was he was wigged, man. He was on some other shit. So every time the more I read into him and the more I have, the more it's been like, I don't know, more of like my expression has like made more sense, or I felt more comfortable and like liking or expressing like strange ideas because of him.
Yeah.
So we got, okay, Chuck Palahniuk, Aleister Crowley. Number 3, I would have to say is Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
Yep, I would say Ozzy. Based off, he had such, not just his work with Black Sabbath, but I think also like his solo stuff was very fascinating to me. Like there's that song Dreamer where he's just very introspective. You know, I look out the window and see. He's just like, I love that shit, man. And I mean, him biting the bat's head off or whatever is classic. Can't go wrong. Fucking started coronavirus himself.
Since day one.
Shit before it was cool.
Yeah.
His music was weird too, because it was like so unique the way that the band played, even when he was with his solo stuff, whatever band people he was playing with then too. They did really great instrumentation and stuff like that that fit exactly where they knew he needed to go and needed to be for his singing abilities. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like it really just helped out his music. I think that the way he surrounded himself with good musicians was why he was able to get so far that he was able to get. Because that's just, I mean, if we're going based on singing ability alone, we know Ozzy Osbourne's not the greatest, but like you said, the content that he came up with and the way that they put the music around that was
the
really
package of it was amazing.
Even like you said, when he was solo, he still wasn't doing it all by himself, and he still knew, because that's all him. He wasn't just being fed random people. He was making his choices. He was, I know this guy's gonna compliment this and do this and blah blah blah. So props to him for you know, being one of those people who wasn't the best at it, but still was able to fucking, you know, make a great name for himself and career.
Just through his work ethic and like persistence, you know?
Yeah.
It's his whole I still need to read his like biography. I know he has a book out. I need to read it.
You ever seen him perform live?
Not in person, but I've watched a lot of live footage.
I saw him. This was like back on the tail end of when he was doing stuff live. I think it was like 2004. Saw him at Ozfest, and he was, you know, he wasn't moving around the stage or anything, but that's a bucket list thing. Check. Saw Ozzy live. You know,
right? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Fuck, it just makes me think pre-COVID, like shows I missed because I took it for granted.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to see Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may never see Marilyn Manson again. Sorry to say that. I'm just saying. I don't know if you've seen what's going on, but it's not looking good for him.
Canceled at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but word, yeah. What about just let's stick to hip hop now. What about your favorite producers? Like, who's your favorite producers? Top 5 producers when it comes to hip hop?
Oh shit! Top 5 producers. Number 1, RZA.
Yep.
Number 2, Madlib.
Yes.
Yep.
Number 3, DJ Premier.
Of course.
All right.
Let's see. DJ Premier. Number 4, I would say Havoc.
Okay.
Okay. I can respect that.
Actually, wait, scrap Havoc. I'm gonna go Pete Rock.
Even better.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 for hip hop producers. I'll go. Fuck, this is a good one. Yeah, I'll go with a modern one because it's typical to name Q-Tip and DJ Premier, like all that. So
Yeah.
I'll throw in a modern producer. I would say my favorite would probably be Lance.
Word. All right. Fuck yeah.
Surprised LP wasn't on that list.
Oh,
LP?
you fuck! Oh no!
No, man.
I wait. Take Pete Rock off. I'm putting LP. Fuck! Thank you. Oh, you almost caught me slipping. Woo. Woo.
Yeah, I don't even know
LP.
you like that, Noah. But I mean, in the little time that
hold
we've
on.
talked, like,
Now
how can you
my
miss
mind
LP
is opened
Ducko?
up. My mind is opened up. Fuck! Now I'm remembering all kinds of shit. Okay, I'm gonna redo the list. I'm redoing it right now, and it'll be quick. Okay,
right.
Number 1, RZA. Number 2, Madlib. Number 3, Necro. Number 4, LP.
Okay.
Yeah. And then 5,
Okay.
Lance. There we go.
There we go. That's what's up.
Yeah,
I can rock with
Necro.
that list.
Yeah.
That's pretty definitely dope. I think that really really kind of falls in line with your style and everything and what you do too. Word. So what are some of your like non-musical hobbies? Like, we know that you're making music and shit, but like, what do you do when you're not making music? Do you like sports? Are you into video games? Fucking, I know you said you do a little bit of reading and stuff. Do you paint and any kind of weird shit?
Oh yeah. I'm okay, so outside of music, my biggest thing growing up was definitely a hardcore gamer. Big time gamer, man, especially because also fun fact about me, I homeschooled from the 4th grade on. So I was I was at home a lot and shit. So, and I was always gaming ever since I was like, I think like 4 or some shit like that, like mad young. Like first game I ever played was it was either Silent Hill or it was like when I was like 4, fucking Silent Hill.
Explains a little bit.
Yeah, it was like Silent Hill, Crash Bandicoot, Metal Gear Solid, Mortal Kombat.
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal is a huge influence. Shit, in terms of influences artistically all around, David Jaffe, the maker of Twisted Metal and God of War, one of my biggest influences.
Hell yeah.
Well.
It definitely was something I'm into, always been into kind of since day one, since fucking Nintendo came out. And I was bugging my fucking parents for that. And ended up getting it, of course, because I got a lot of shit that I asked for. I didn't get everything, but I got a lot of shit. And I always would ask for just one thing. I'd be like, all right, this Christmas I'm going to ask for one thing. Big shit, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm going to get a bunch of dumb shit I don't want, but I'm going to get one thing I want, and that's it. So yeah, it was like if it was the Nintendo, then it was like the Sega, then it was like the fucking Dreamcast. I got duped into buying that. I think I might have smashed it. Tried to trade it in. They were like, "We'll give you $10 that you owe us for it."
Yeah, you're gonna pay us to take that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Dreamcast.
No, but then I moved on to PlayStation, and then it was like I got sick of PlayStation because my PlayStation in particular had like a disk drive problem, and it pissed me off. And so when I had a chance to upgrade, I went to the Xbox 360. Not the first Xbox I had played, but I didn't own one. And it was like I didn't like it because it was so huge and janky.
Yeah,
And
that controller was fucking huge.
yeah, and so I didn't like that. So I like the PlayStation controller, and I like how they kept it to the same. But then I did switch to 60, and I was like, I liked it, but then it was like I liked more of the PlayStation exclusives. So I switched back in like 2015 back to PlayStation, and I'm not ever switching back. I don't think at this point. So yeah, I've kind of been a gamer since forever. Obviously, I like sports though. I'm a sports guy. I say sports, but really just Celtics. I don't watch fucking Red Sox. I don't watch the fucking Patriots. I don't really give a fuck, you know. And I feel like, oh, what?
I'm the same way. I don't know any players. You know, last time I knew Tiger Woods was playing for the Patriots.
So, like, yeah, just basically the Celtics. Even though they suck a lot this year, I'm still watching and gritting my teeth and shit like that. And art, something I'm trying to get into. Doing more painting stuff. I got some good ideas I want to do. I just haven't really found the time to do that yet. What about you, Justin? What are you into, dude? That's not musical. I know you're not making music, but are you into like art? Like if we had like a virtual like paint night fucking thing, would you be there?
Oh fuck yeah!
Yo, I'm there. I got my
huge into
paint right
Banksy.
here.
Huge into Banksy. I mean, I've been into graffiti for a while. Just kind of dabbled in it a little. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Dabbled in graffiti a little bit. Never really did anything out in public, but yeah, sports. Yeah. I'm down with all the sports. Not necessarily the Bruins. I'm not a hockey guy, but yeah, definitely Red Sox, Pats, Celtics. You know, not too long ago had Celtics season tickets, and
nice.
I saw Banner 17. So another thing on the bucket list. Check.
I was there.
Yeah. Me and Obese watch Banner 17 raise up to the rafters.
Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Go down. Go down.
Yep. That was huge. Video games, you know, here and there. It's more I'm still on the Xbox One right now, but been doing my thing since the Nintendo and Duck Hunt, you know, way back.
Yes.
And I still remember my number one all-time favorite Christmas gift was when I was back in 5th grade. It's like 1992, 93. Got a Sega Genesis and Mortal Kombat when that came out. And I remember it to this day, that goddamn blood code, ABACABB, is ingrained in my memory. So yeah.
Hell
games, you know,
the gore
sports.
code, bro, so you could have the gore.
Yeah.
Had that fucking game, and it was so annoying too, because if you played against someone who played a lot, it was like you could never even get a goddamn punch in, and then you uppercut down on the spikes and shit. Oh,
yeah, you have that one. It might even be like a little ass kid too. They'll be fucking people up. I mean, that was kind of my thing, honestly, because in terms of video games and like what I enjoy outside of music, my biggest thing was competitive gaming, and I competed professionally with Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter for a long time. So that was my shit for a minute. So I went to Vegas.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. So word, man. Now is the time. It's about 9 o'clock, I guess. So yeah, it's perfect timing. We normally do the smoke break now. So time for blazing. If you got any topics for discussion that we haven't touched on yet that you want to bring up, you have any questions for me or Justin, or let's check the chat real quick. You can look over there too if you want. If there's anybody who has any questions, now would be the time to ask if you have any questions, or if you got any stories or anything that's crazy that you want to fucking let us know. Now's the time for that. Also, always have to remember to shout out Fire on Fore.
Fire on Fore.
For this smoke right here. I'm getting myself into a little bit of Mendo breath, so let me heat up the dab rig and get into it.
Word. There's a little smoke session.
Like Lucifer likes the smoke break.
That's right. Gotta keep those feet warm.
Cam, y'all are gonna love my episode.
We are, Cam. I'm gonna watch your episode, and
yeah, hell yeah.
I love Cam, bro. Cam's the shit. He's always in these chats. He's always popping up everywhere. So I'm
gonna play a little, just a little interlude type beat. Try to get a little something going on in the background here, so it's not so big.
Yeah. Get some ambient noise.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, dab time.
There we go. That's good. And
I am now.
oh, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, "Fuck!" I thought it was Jenny talking. Something. I thought she was saying something.
Yeah, she's been awfully quiet tonight.
Yeah, man. I don't know. She's not feeling too social right now. She's kind of like pointing at y'all though. Oh shit! Oh, this beat's nice. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, that bitch in the background is sketchy.
Yeah, that's Jenny Broadway. Is her name?
Ready to dress yourself every day?
Oh yeah, I got my fucking my wig I usually put on. Yeah.
Let me see how this shot's gonna look.
She's popping up in all my music videos, by the way. I have a whole backstory for like there's a whole thing going on with that. So,
Nice.
the whole thing. She got her own Instagram account.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she interacts with people.
Damn. She's got fucking more followers than I do.
I think she's up to 27 now, which is surprising. I have a lot of OnlyFans people following her because that's how like I promote her shit. Is that she has like an OnlyFans?
Bro, you'd be surprised if you made that mannequin in OnlyFans, you might make some actual money off that.
Right.
I'm saying her leg comes off too, so you know that there's possibilities.
People are fucking wild, dude. Seriously, crazy fucking people that are out there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading about that, or something came up on YouTube. I think about someone's mother was doing an OnlyFans. They banned the fucking kids from the school.
Holy shit, the kids?
Yeah, the kid. They found out that their mother was doing an OnlyFans, and they suspended her kids from school.
What the fuck the kids got to do with it?
I have no idea.
No.
Obviously, the kids are back in school now, but yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, like
That's fucked, man.
Yeah, I was like, damn, what the fuck? How's that even a thing? Like, what's the basis you writing them up for? Like, when you bring them to the office, like,
it's like not the kids' fault they gotta live with this woman.
Right.
Fucking weird, man. The whole like, I don't know, what we're coming up in, what we're living in right now is just fucking crazy.
It's weird, man, because like I don't know, I always debate it in my head. I mean, I'm always at debate with something. But like I don't know, it's like there's people that do OnlyFans and shit that you would never think either would or you like they're just jumping into it like out of the convenience of it without thinking of like the possible consequences or what that does to somebody's psyche and like putting your body and yourself out there. And maybe you're not used to like, I don't know, like a random dude jumping in the chat and like saying like, oh, your body sucks or like some crazy shit, you know, and just like having yourself on the internet like that, you know. I don't know. It's an interesting combo.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Oh, my grandmother. Paranoah is the coolest. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grams, if you're still watching.
Shit, you weren't joking when you said that earlier. You're gonna share this with your gram.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Supportive family members.
Oh, here's a good topic for smoke break. What is your guys' opinion on cancel culture?
Ooh.
I know it's a loaded one. That could go in a million directions.
What's your thoughts on it, Martin?
Me?
Yeah, start us off. Go for it.
Yeah, do it.
So, for me, for cancel culture, well, obviously, if there's somebody that's like, for obvious reasons, like hurting people, like a Harvey Weinstein or a fucking Cosby or like something like that, obviously they should be canceled because they're, you know, a fucking shitty, like horrible, like actual, like horrible people, like doing horrible things. In terms of art being canceled, I am not a fan of it. at all, and it's one of the things like I worry about heavily with. It seems to be younger than me, and then like my generation. There's some older people that are like hardcore, like SJW-ish or however, whatever you want to categorize it. But I definitely worry about it being a slippery slope and leading to censorship, like completely. Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, it's a dangerous game, and like who's to deem like what art is inappropriate or like what can be said or not, because it's not like politically correct. And it's like if we ban, I don't know, like people wanted to ban, I don't know, like fucking South Park a million times because they'll say like a gay joke or a Jew joke or whatever it will be, and it's like if we ban that, who's to say like they're not gonna come and maybe it'll go around and then they'll find your shit offensive and then you get silenced and then everybody's getting silenced, and now we're dealing with something like in Russia where hip hop artists can't even speak up against their government and use their voice in any way, or they get prison time for it, you know? So that's my main worry with cancel culture, the main thing about it.
I remember back, I mean, it's got to be going close on a year now when Nick Cannon was facing all that backlash for the things he said. And they were like about getting rid of his shows and all this other stuff. Well, pretty sure he has his show back at this point. So I think a lot of what the cancel culture thing comes down to is people overreacting. Well, maybe not overreacting, but just jumping to conclusions too quickly.
Yeah.
So like, all right, he says this one thing, next thing you know, it means like something completely different that he didn't really mean. So like taking something and then dropping it out of context and then saying that applies to every little aspect of this person's life is, I don't really think, the way to go about it. I think when issues like this pop up, time needs to be taken in order to assess the situation the right way and figure out, what was the intent, get all sides of the story, before you're just going to be like, look, this is it. You can't ever do anything anymore, because as you can see, once things were made clearer and things, were understood between both parties, or how many other parties might have been involved, Nick Cannon's back to doing what he was doing before, not too much worse for wear, and he still got to say what he wanted to say. So is cancel culture really a thing, or is it just like how fucking strong is cancel culture in reality?
Yeah.
And if you're actually doing something and you get canceled and they're like, you continue on this path of doing dumb shit and doing the shit you got canceled for to begin with, then yeah, you're canceled. You know what I'm saying? But if you get canceled and you come out and you say, hey, I'm fucking sorry, I did some dumb shit, blah 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 blah, I want to work to better myself, and it should be the end of the discussion if you're trying to better yourself and not just, oh, you did this one time and now you're canceled forever. I don't agree with that at all.
Yep. Yeah, kind of going back to what Noah said, like it is a form of censorship, and it's a slippery slope. Like, where's the line? This guy, we're going to cancel this guy, but we're not going to cancel this guy because of something he said. And it's a tough decision. And like you said, Obese, like people are, make rash decisions in the short term, and this shit affects people's lives, like their livelihood in a lot of cases. And in Nick Cannon's, instance, he was very lucky that it didn't go that next step and he loses everything, like he still was able to hold on to some things, and he's kind of redeemed himself in a sense. And,
but the thing about it is Nick Cannon, look at Nick Cannon and what, what he does and has done for the Black community, not just the Black community, but like through charities and donations and the things that he fucking does. He's obviously not a hateful person. You know what I'm saying? He did that diss track with Eminem, and it was like a joke diss track, when you listen to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was like, having fun. Like,
yeah, he didn't even really make the diss track be too mean. He was just like, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. Right. He has opinions, which he's fucking allowed to have. He never went out and said, Jews aren't worth anything to anybody. Like, we don't like the way the history is, people just get it all wrong, and and people just took it the completely fucking wrong way.
Right. Well, it's so easy to take things out of context nowadays. Like you get
Oh,
you get a soundbite from somebody, and you can use it however you want to use it to portray them in a certain way.
Yeah.
But that's a good ass point. And the way like the media uses like hot words and hot takes, like the way they set up the headlines is to be like everything is sensationalized, you know, and like everything is fucking blown out. And it's like they were acting like Nick Cannon was reciting Mein Kampf or some shit. It was just like he fucking like, bro, it was far from that, you know. But it's like you have Twitter and everything.
Yeah, people.
And I think we got to be careful with this shit, because who are we as, you know, a general public to take away somebody's redemption, you know, where they truly are, you know, sorry that they did say that, and maybe they've changed over the years, or it was taken out of context, or what have you. But taking away the ability for that person to repent and redeem themselves, I think is dangerous.
Yeah, that's where it gets scary, is, you know, where it's like there's no option to redeem yourself. And like, you know, and one thing that might be considered like an extreme belief of mine that like not everyone agrees with and shit, but like for me, I think like when it comes to artistic expression, I feel like there shouldn't be like any, like no fucking rules, like gloves off, like we can say, do whatever, anything under the context of art, you know. Or like I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy, for example, you know. And then like, you know, you had things like Jerry Seinfeld wasn't allowed at certain campuses because he makes certain jokes, and I guess it's that campus's like right, so to speak, since it's like they own that, so that you could choose like freedom of speech. It's not literally like you can just say whatever wherever. But there's at the end of the day, it's like I'm just still not a fan of that, you know. Like I don't know, I come from a family that just let shit fly, and we crack jokes at each other, and you know, it didn't mean anything more than that, you know.
Well, take Marilyn Manson, for instance, because he came up earlier. Now, just because of, you know, things that have happened in his personal life, we're going to disregard all of that art he's created over the years. And we're going to say he doesn't deserve to have, you know, that voice or that platform anymore, because, you know, I mean, granted, just looking at the guy and knowing who he is, I'm not surprised that this is happening to him. You know, you should have known when you met the guy what his deal was. But then the whole, we can't take away that art hit that he's created before this all happened. You know, like we're gonna take that all away from him too. You know.
No. That's totally wrong. Michael Jackson's. It's the same thing for Michael Jackson. I mean, granted, I think he made some music later on that was like, you know, into the 2010s. So he might have did a couple of things. I don't care. I don't like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everything.
Talking about Billie Jean, bitch.
That's right. I still get down a lot.
So the album that he did in, what was it, 92 with Jam on it. Like, what was it, History or something?
No, I think that was later on.
I think that 92 he put out, that was the last one for me. You know, once the allegations started coming out, it was like, all right, I don't know if to believe this or not, but I'm just going to give the benefit of the doubt to him, and I'm going to continue to listen to his shit. And then it was like when the second type allegations came out, that's where I was done. I was like, all right, you had one chance. Like I said, second chance, I'm not. But everything made prior to that, I'm not going to, if I hear it, I don't turn it off. You know what I'm saying? I don't go, there's Michael Jackson's fucking song. Like, he may or may not have, probably did, molest kids. Who knows? You know?
Right.
Song. Now, R. Kelly, on the other hand, that's someone I won't listen to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why there's a difference for me, but there is for me. I feel like R. Kelly, in a way, is just like just a bigger scumbag. You know what I'm saying?
There's
scumbag or not,
the stains to prove it.
Right?
Exactly. So I just feel like he's
scumbag or not, that music that he's created, he's got talent. And because he's a scumbag, we're going to take away the art that he's created.
No, I'm not saying take it away. Just for me personally, I won't listen to it. If I hear a song, I skip over it. Not saying to take it away, but I do think that you should just stop making music. Don't allow no more music to come out. because
Well, I don't think he's making much music anymore.
but every time you go to an R. Kelly song nowadays, like, and you hear what he's saying, you're like, damn, you equate that to like he's talking about little girls the whole fucking time. It's all like,
Right. Well,
like,
yeah,
oh,
retrospect. It's like, ooh, okay.
damn,
You were a scumbag back then. We just didn't know about it.
exactly. It makes it an unenjoyable experience. Whereas Michael Jackson is talking about girls, girl, the way you make me feel, like other things that you don't really necessarily have to visualize. But R. Kelly, every fucking song is the same. You're talking about banging and whatever else he's fucking talking about constantly.
The R&B shit.
But to each his own. I don't think that their catalog should be removed. No, I don't. It's what they made. But looking at
it's more like you personally, you're just like, I won't listen to that because it makes me think this, and it's like your personal choice.
Right.
Yeah. But the music.
But are you actively gonna go out and tell people not to listen to his music if they're jamming it?
I'm not.
Nah. Yeah, I won't do that.
People are entitled to their opinions.
And burning it in the parking lot, although I mean it probably would be fun.
I remember this bartender, fucking put on Bump and Grind and shit. Like, and he didn't give a fuck, and he was like, "Yo, this shit still jams." And like, there was a moment like he started like dancing a little bit to it, and then like I started singing the lyrics, and like there was this moment around the bar where everybody was like, "Fuck it," and they started like all chiming in and like singing that shit.
Oh my god!
It's like Kelly lives on.
Too much. That is too much. Look,
and I looked it up. That Michael Jackson record. Were you talking about 91? Dangerous.
Dangerous, yeah, that's what it
was.
was.
That was co-produced by Teddy Riley.
Yeah, that's why it was so dope, dude.
Yep.
That album was dope. I even think like that was a good album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dangerous. It had him on the front like at a circus or some shit with a bunch of animals or something.
I'm trying to get the track list for it. Where did it go?
I just remember having that when that came out. I just had that shit on fucking repeat. For some reason, the production, everything about it was dope.
My computer's going slow.
But yeah. Right now, let's talk about fucking new rap versus old rap.
Woo.
Do we have to? We all know the answer to that question.
Well,
with my ass over here with the shit behind me. Vacation.
Try to have some good, honest, unbiased discussion because there is like, good new rap and there is bad old rap. So, but for the most part, we already know you're probably not listening to most new rap. Like we're not talking like no Little Pumps and no fucking Lil Xan and all those motherfuckers. Yeah. But as far as J. Cole and like Kendrick, and people like them go, obviously we're listening to them. But as far as the culture is concerned, even though the Kendricks and the Coles and stuff, we consider them pretty decent new rap artists, the culture is still different. If you go back to like the early 90s into the late 90s, hip-hop artists for the most part had to personify certain things that I feel like certain artists these days don't necessarily have to personify because they didn't really live that life, but they kind of do in their music. And like I had touched on earlier, I'm not sure how much of that you're able to sell before you're able to say, is it really happening, blah, blah. So what do you think about the difference in culture and how do you think it's affected the different styles of music that came out between then and now? And I'm not talking Pump and Zan, I'm talking the Kendricks and Coles versus the fucking, the Gangstars and the fucking Nas and Jay-Z from back in the 90s and shit like that.
Okay, so I know how to frame this. Okay, because I was like, I'm gonna try to organize in my brain because I could rant a lot about this. Go on for so I think hip hop culture being the graffiti, the breakdancing, the DJ, like the production, I think all of that has stayed strong and kept evolving, but not in a way where it tarnished or disrespected what came before. Now in terms of like the knowledge part of hip hop and the knowledge being spread, I think that's still going on, and there's still younger cats, like there's older cats putting younger ones on the shit. So whether it's like you're diving into like 5% knowledge or you're diving into whatever it may be. Now, in terms of the music and emceeing is concerned, that's the thing that's, I think, drastically changed, I would say, where you could see the biggest difference to where it was like, well, yeah, hip hop when it first kicked off, and it was party music when it first started on Sedgwick Avenue. It was a fucking party, so it was, and you were coming off a disco. So it was still like motherfuckers were still on coke and was still about the live party.
They wanted to dance and they wanted to have a good time. That's exactly what it was. They were just finding ways to integrate themselves into that music more. So yeah, definitely.
And so you had party, right? And then you go further down the line, it's party, or it's you had some street knowledge put in there. Like if you have the song like The Message. Junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I mean, he's talking about the environment he's in, so that's not purely party. Then you fast forward, then you get to like KRS, you get to Chuck D, you get to it becomes very strongly a political thing, and I really love that era. I love Public Enemy, I love KRS, and then I would say from there, then like Rakim starts coming out. Right. And he starts doing the multi-syllabic rhyme schemes. He starts, where you get there's an emphasis on, and there's that technical part comes in. He's doing the rap-a-tapic and macic and gacic and shit. He's the one that started that movement off of like getting busy on the mic and having like abstract. Fast forward 90s, and you got G-Rap, you got Pun, Big L, Wu-Tang. In 99.
These guys all have their own really unique styles too. The guys you just mentioned, every one of them is so unique in a way where you could pick them out after just a few seconds of them talking.
Yes, and that is the main thing for me. Where when I fast forward all the way to today, it's harder that there's not enough distinct voices, and at least that's pushed into the mainstream eye. Because I always had my ear to the underground, so I always know when shit's coming. I got my ear to the whole Jedi Mind Tricks pocket and the Demigods pocket of rap and Rhyme Sayers and all those guys. They've always been putting out dope shit. But I would like to see more of a balance within the mainstream in terms of like, look, I do like party shit. Like if I'm at a strip club, I'm not trying to listen to Immortal Technique, But I want to see some more of the Immortal Techniques, push forward in the world, and more of that push forward. And
radio, they should definitely have a greater mix of conscious music, hip hop music, and a little bit of the party dumb shit that goes through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like what the agenda they push on the radio tends to push back into the community and reflect back. You know what I'm saying? And we're getting a small percentage of decent conscious music and a large percentage of not so conscious music, and it's flaming everything that it's like firing things up that shouldn't really be happening. We should be being more conscious about not only ourselves but everything else that's going on around us as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, man. And I think like the mumble rap thing, like I'm not that mad at the mumble rapper thing. I used to be like really mad about it, and I mean, don't get me wrong. If I hear especially like a local cat or like someone just like on that like shit, like I'm gonna think it's corny as fuck, and I'm gonna be like, this sounds like everything else. But there is like, if I'm gonna look at the silver lining of that, there is a bunch of rappers, right? Yes, there's a ton of artists. Everyone's trying to rap. A lot of them are making the same sounding shit. Or if they are lyrical rappers, they don't have like enough of like a unique, like whether it's a voice or they're not lyrically as sharp as like the ones we've heard before, like to where when there's the mumble cats, if you come with something original and dope, you're gonna stand out. It's gonna make you just look better. So I'll be like, oh, thank you for being whack, because my shit's gonna stand out and cut through now. That's how I see that shit. But like what Beast was saying, I'd like a mix of more conscious stuff being put out there, and I want to hear more like Run the Jewels on the radio, even, because they're a nice mix between new, like, I mean, LP's always been innovating with shit, but like Run the Jewels is a great example. That's music you could turn up to. I've seen them live. You could it has that bounce to it,
right?
And that shit that people like now, where they do this motion, and like it has that, but then they're dropping the science on you in there,
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. I just, like you were talking about, there is some artists, like I like Migos and shit like that, because I had heard stuff and I'm like, obviously the beats are dope. But at first I didn't understand it. And that's just from like not ever listening to that kind of music, So at first I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, listening, like, what the fuck is he saying? And then like ended up, going back and listening again and again and again until I realized, what they were doing as far as rhyme scheme, and the words they were using were actually multi-syllable words. They're rhyming multi-syllable words, and they're doing a flow and I tried to emulate it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, everybody says that this is these people, they're whack, they can't rap. So I'm like, well, if it's so easy and people are so fucking whack, well, I could easily do it then. So let me get on here, listen to them, see how they do it, and then write, and then try to fucking go and do it. And it's fucking hard. So,
yeah.
The triplet flow, when you go, and then this like, was like using the MPC for so many years they have the timing, the eighth and the eighth timing, eighth and a third timing, and that's exactly how they were rapping, basically, as if the hi-hats were doing that. And that when I realized how that's going, that all made that click for me. Yeah. But my early goings to try to do that and make a whole fucking song the way that they do, it's way more words than you're using when you're writing the regular way that you normally would. They're doubling up the amount of words they're saying also. So when you look at it from that aspect, like, you can't really be mad at what they're doing, because they may not be saying things that I agree with, as far as like we're talking about conscious message, whatever, but they are saying stuff that's relevant, I think, to their lives and how they grew up and where they grew up, and they're bringing a vision of that life and where they grew up to people who didn't grow up there. And that's the same thing that Jay-Z was doing, even though he seemed like a lot of people might say he's better than Migos and shit like that, but people might argue Migos is better than Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of perspective, really. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I don't go one way or the other. I'm not like the stuff we were talking about before. I'm going to skip over fucking certain shit. I will. I don't like that goes for 90s shit. Like, it goes for boom bap era shit too. There's stuff I don't like.
It was mad corny shit in the boom bap era. Yeah.
But then there's other stuff that was mad corny that I'm not skipping over. You know what I'm saying? Like Skilo. I wish I was a little bit taller. Wish I was a baller. Like, I'm playing that. Probably gonna hit me.
Yeah, like there's shit like that where it's too fucking beat, bop, beat. And then there's also the thing with 90s rap too, is like there was a portion of it when everything was the tough guy shit. And it was like Timberland boots, Carhartt, a baseball bat with spikes in it. And it's like everybody's doing that shit. And it's like people felt like they couldn't be like introspective or like have what people would call emo rap, which was really spawned off of what Atmosphere was doing back then. And that, and that's a bridge off I see.
We could go on a tangent about fucking Atmosphere, the amount of
we could have a whole month of shows about just Atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. I have God Loves Ugly right up there.
Yes. Best album you ever put out, my opinion. But
that or the Lucy Ford. Actually, the Lucy Ford EP.
Yeah, Lucy Ford's got to be the best.
I like God Loves Ugly because that song in particular just stands out to me. The production that Ant did on that song was like something that I never did before. And it was like so new on the God Loves Ugly song. It was just snapping. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day.
So unique, man.
Repeat in the car and ride around the beach. Just like nobody, probably even half the people didn't know what the fuck that song even was. But we're just like, oh yeah,
Yeah, man. That changed a lot of like Slug. Idea, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Like Brother Ali. Fucking like, yo, that whole movement there is like, that changed a lot of my perspective in terms of like, in terms of just on the level of the craft and the writing of it. Like, you don't have to be fucking literal with like, oh, like, here's this microphone, like, it's just like, there's abstract ways you could word things. I think like Slug and like MF Doom and cats like that, they worded things in a way where it was like, it made you think, or he'll just word something different than you normally, like, there's a million ways to say like, I'll fuck you up. That's what hip hop is. It's like, we're saying fuck you, whether it's the system or, people or invisible opponents that we attack in our rhymes. And it's all in like how you say it. There's a million ways to say fuck you. Like Aesop is I don't know how Aesop is master at that.
Yep.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's have some random discussion. I don't get to have this discussion with a lot of people because, well, we know Hero doesn't really smoke weed and shit like that. But I want to get your thoughts on weed. Your thoughts on legalization. Do you smoke? What's your favorite kind of smoking? All that good shit.
Oh, let's get it. Okay, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Are you a flower guy or are you a dab guy? Or are you like a using pens guy?
I'm a flower guy. Yeah. I like the flower and a Dutch master. I like my flavored wraps and shit. You know what I mean? I like that. My hands are too sweaty, and normally I'm eating greasy food, so I can't do like zigzag papers because I'll just grease it up.
That's
so I need some
to burn on your fucking rice paper.
So I fuck with that. I remember I used to smoke out of Bible pages to be edgy. And it was the dollar stores. You get a Bible for $1, and those papers aren't bad. Only thing is, my dumbass wasn't thinking I'm smoking ink.
Yeah, but who cares? You just smoke Mountain Dew
all
cans.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew cans, bro. Like shit. Been down
apples
before.
Apples, yeah.
Apples I still would do. Even to this day if I could. But I ran into problems where I couldn't fuck with the flower anymore because I had developed like this allergy to it. I was growing it for a while. So while I was growing it, I was around it a lot. So it ended up I was in the grow room and I would be like in this. Well, it's really a tent. It was like a 12 by 12 tent. And I'd be in there walking between the plants and reaching in plants and trimming and all this other shit. And I would get hives on my arms and shit. And I'd be like, what the fuck am I getting these hives for? For a while. And then I was smoking joints after joint after joint all the time. I smoked joints fucking all day long. And my lips would swell up a little bit and get itchy. And my throat would do the same thing. And I was using an inhaler. I'm like, I got fucking asthma, And the allergist is like, when I got the hives, went to the allergist and she's like, testing me for all this shit, and so I'm allergic to hazelnuts, and I'm like, all right, so I'm allergic to hazelnuts. That's cool. I kind of thought I already knew that, and I'm like, all right. Then I'm like, but it's not that because I don't go around hazelnuts. And she's like, well, what do you around? I'm like, well, I grow some weed. She's like, oh, so we set up another appointment. I bring the weed in. It was like an instant reaction on my back instantly. Boom, I'm allergic to weed. She's like, all right, so you got to stop smoking weed. I'm like, ah, shit. I was like, that's probably not gonna happen. I like that. It's like, oh, okay. And like, if you don't, you're probably your lungs could get worse. And and I was like, well, just write me a prescription for the fucking inhaler, and we'll be good. And then I got into looking into dabs or whatever because somebody was telling me the process of how they were made, and I was like thinking scientifically, this might mean that most of that shit that's giving me the problems might be left behind when they process the dabs into concentrate. So I reached out to a friend who's like had some shit, and sure shit, it ended up working. At first I was doing way too big a dab, way too fucking hot. And I was like, first couple of times, like first time I was like, damn. Went out to the car, I'm like, I'm gonna do a dab, heat up the fucking titanium nail. It was red hot, bro, like red hot. It was in a dark car, the light wasn't on or nothing, but that fucking and I took the dab and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just started hitting it because it's the first time I ever did it. Boom, dropped that fucking in red hot, and it burned my lungs. I was fucking coughing for like 5 minutes, right? Came back from the cough. I didn't feel high at all. I was like, waiting. Like, am I gonna fucking feel it? No. Fuck it. I'm gonna do another one. So I eat that fucking thing right back up. I take another one, even bigger, and I was like, oh, I coughed like a motherfucker again because again I didn't know. Like I was just hammering it out red hot and not letting it cool down at all, and I was just like, whatever. So I was like, whatever, I guess that's it. I went inside, I got a drink, and I remember I went upstairs and I laid down, I was watching TV, and like all of a sudden that shit hit me. It was like 10, 15 minutes later. It all hit me at once. And I got up out of bed. I'm like, whoa. And then just like went downstairs, went to the back porch, just puked. All that fucking water I was just drinking right out. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, I hadn't been that fucking high in like ever in my life. And I was like, this shit is dangerous. And I'm like, after about 5 minutes of hanging on the back porch, I was feeling fine. I went back in and I just like ate so much fucking food. I think that I probably couldn't move after I ate so much fucking food. I was like, oh my God, how many more donuts can I eat? Right. So I'm like, after that though, I got on YouTube and I started looking up different ways to do it. And I found that getting the quartz bucket, timing your shit down so it's not so hot, and then you level off. You get like this I could take big fucking dabs now and I barely get, it's like smoking a half a joint, So it's all relative to what you're doing. Like when you're smoking bowls, you take a lot of weed and you jam it in there and you can smoke that bowl and you get high and you're like, I'm satisfied. But a lot of people are like, can't do dabs because it gets me too high. But for me, that's how it was at first. But then after like a week of doing dabs, it's just like smoking a bowl, just like any other kind of high. You know what I'm saying? It does not like
your lungs get accustomed to it. Everything gets accustomed.
Exactly. And it's been a lot better for me. I haven't had to use the fucking inhaler, and so I know now that after doing further research, and that allergy lady, got back to me and she said I found out that there's a protein in hazelnuts, the bee protein, that is also in marijuana. So, and cannabis. So there's a certain protein in the hazelnut plant or whatever called the bee protein, I think is what she called it. And it's actually in live weed too, and it's growing in its pollen. So I'm allergic to that specific protein, not necessarily hazelnuts, which is crazy on a whole nother level that she would even figure that out. But when I got into looking it up online, I figured it out too, because I wondered like, oh, what the fuck is this? And I got to looking it up, and boom, there it was. Bee protein found in cannabis, found in hazelnuts, and other kinds of tree nuts too. Weird as fuck, but true. Hell yeah. So
I never heard of that. That's fucking. I learn something new every day.
It's fucking next level shit, dude. Honestly, it was some shit that had me thinking. Like at one point, like I said, she's like, "You can't smoke weed anymore." That was literally what she was saying to me. And for me, like being that, I was a recovering addict. You know what I'm saying? So like I've been like 12, 13. Weed is what got me through. Like I don't drink any, I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't do anything but weed. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, it's ingrained in my identity. And while I have stopped, I was having heart troubles like a year and a half ago. I stopped smoking weed altogether for like 2 months, and I had no issues with it. You know what I'm saying? But it did absolutely nothing to change my condition. It was anxiety that was causing that. You know what I'm saying? It did nothing to change my condition when I stopped. So I went back to smoking. I'm like, I'm gonna go back to smoking because it obviously wasn't that. But like, I feel like for me, when smoking is like the normalcy, I get up every fucking day, it's like the same thing. I smoke all day long is what I do. So if I didn't have that, I don't know what the fuck would be going on. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It would be crazy in my head. I wouldn't be able to focus. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast. Things would be way different because it helps me. It's like I have ADHD and I was on Ritalin when I was younger, and I went off of it on my own because it made me feel like shit. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. So I was like, this isn't good for you. I could just tell it's just not good for you. And then, the weed though is like, some people are like, I can't do shit. I smoke weed. And I'm like, but for me, it's the opposite. I smoke weed and I get to work. I'm like, what am I doing next? Boom. It's like, I can get my goals, my list, everything accomplished. Like when I'm on weed. When I'm not, it's how people feel like they are when they're on weed. When I'm not, I'm just like, I lay around. I just want to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's
that's your medicine, man.
Yeah, exactly. But to each his own. I have seen people that's like, they shouldn't smoke weed. And that's just like, some people just, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's the same with medicine. People have different, reactions to certain certain things. So,
Yeah.
I don't smoke weed anymore, but I'm all for legalizing it, regulate it, make it
That's what I'm saying.
safe,
You
give
guys,
people the access that need the access.
you guys in
Why not?
Massachusetts legalized too. So like, do you hit up the dispensaries and shit like that? You got a dispensary that's nearby that you like, or do you just have?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's funny because I was coming back from Maine not too long ago, and just on the billboards driving down, like dispensary here, dispensary here, dispensary here. I know there's one in Brookline, so that's not too far away, but I don't think there's anything in my town.
Yeah.
But I haven't hit them up yet. I haven't had a need to, but
good thing for you to do. I know that you're not really smoking weed these days, but another good thing that people overlook sometimes is CBD too.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Can help you with like, your day-to-day fucking mentality, even though you don't feel any real like effects from it or whatever.
Right.
It can really like go a long ways to like brighten your day. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a mood brightener, dude. And you just take it every day. And it does take a little while. Like, you're not gonna feel it the first day or 2 or 3 or whatever. But if you consistently take a good amount of CBD, you'll feel better, I think, overall. I was giving CBD to my dog for a while. She had tore her ACL, dude, and when she was on the fucking CBD, like, she was more mobile, she was more energetic, she could fucking keep up with shit. She's not on the CBD, she's not really the same. Like, CBD had her focused, had her hyperness down, and now like she's not on it. It's the complete opposite. I feel like it does it works wonders, and it's a good way to because our bodies are made to accept the cannabinoids, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have the receptors within our body to work with this. So in some way or another, I feel like everyone could benefit from, at least at the minimum, just getting some sort of CBD supplement in you. But but if you do, like I said, you go to your dispensary and make sure that it's a like locally produced or processed one, because you don't want to just be buying like Chinese CBD and like whatever. You want cannabis, locally grown cannabis CBD, like isolate and shit like that from somewhere, or capsules or whatever they've got. But local is the main thing. But yeah, you don't have to have THC like to smoke weed. In Florida, they had no THC weed. They had these stores. You go in the store to buy a bong or something like that, and they had nuggets in jars. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because in Florida, you couldn't have weed. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I asked the guy, he's like, oh, that's CBD. It's like nuggets just sitting out. Like, oh, so you just get that, smoke it, and it's fine. They're like, yeah, but you can't smoke THC weed. I'm like, oh shit. He's like, the cops have to test it. They'll test it with their little tester and make sure it doesn't have THC in it.
See, what other shit in the world do you know has regulations and shit like that? Like, you can have this, but you can't have this.
That's what
it's
I'm
the
saying.
same fucking thing.
Federally, it should be an issue that's addressed federally, so we wouldn't have to deal with all the nitpicking between. Like, it's just make it legal federally, and then
just fucking legalize everything. Coke, heroin. Let's go.
The thing that gets me is all those people locked up in jail for this shit that they did 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, when it wasn't kosher to do this shit, and they're still sitting in the jail cell. Like, that's what gets me.
Yeah,
and motherfuckers still in jail from it. It's like, yo, the moment this shit became legal, I should have let them out. I mean, I'm on the extreme where I just think everything should be fucking legal, because I feel like I just, I've had a lot of different, like, my family too. Like, there's been people that have been on drugs. I've had bad shit. I've had friends overdose, like all kinds of shit. But I feel like people, if they want to do some shit or they're gonna self-destruct, they're gonna find a way. Yeah. And I just think, like, we're all adults. We could decide whether we want to, like, I'm not going to smoke crack, but I mean, if this motherfucker wants to do it, like, just let him. Like, I don't know, man. It's an extreme, but I don't know. I always feel weird about, like, legal and laws and shit.
It makes sense, man. They're trying to overregulate shit, and you could fucking, be addicted to cheeseburgers, bro. So
I am. That's a fact. Listen.
I know. I know.
Actually, fuck McDonald's. They don't sponsor us.
Yeah, don't show that logo.
Sandwiches, though, recently that are pretty fire from what I heard. But anyway, so yeah, so I mean, basically, we're wrapping up. I do want to touch on some of the releases. Maybe you got that have just come out, or anything that you're releasing that will come out soon. Let people know about that. And
Word. And just real quick to touch on it, I just thought in my head, the whole like banning of like, oh, it's banned THC and not CBD. That's like saying like, oh, it's legal to drink White Claws, but we're gonna ban whiskey. Like, what the fuck is like? It's alcohol at the end of the day, bitch. Like, what are we doing? Aside from that,
Overregulation and just like war on fucking drugs and shit is stupid to begin with. So
fuck it. I want the Wild West. Let's go. I live in Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, the literal Wild West.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Word. So like, so what do you got that just came out? What's coming out? What are you gonna let people know if they want to catch you on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you got? Why don't you shout yourself out here for a little bit?
Word. All right. So, I mean, anybody that wants to follow my shit, I'm under Paranoah on Instagram. At Paranoah Music on every other platform. I just put out a single a few weeks back. My first one on like Spotify, which is Sudafed. The whole point of that, it was just me lyrically flexing, nothing more, nothing deeper. A lot of battle-like rhymes and showing people how I could flip multi-syllable schemes and stuff. So that's Sudafed. That's out. I'm currently finishing up my first project, which is called When October Left, which is a huge dive into my unconscious, I would say, and the kind of any pain or depression or anger or anything I felt in the past like year or so is all condensed into that project. So there's a lot of emotion on there. It's produced by this guy named SFM 35.8. He's actually from the UK, and all of the beats he plays live acoustic. So he does all his own notes, and so it has a very unique flavor to it. It's not like anything I've ever rapped on before, really, or I mean, it's all boom bap technically, but it's more in that experimental pocket, So people that like doom, people like LP, like that pocket, they're gonna fuck with it heavy. Just a few aggressive bangers on there. Some storytelling. I'm kind of mixing all my elements that I got.
What was the creation process like for you? Do you like record at home? Do you get the beats from him just like right at home and record there, or do you go somewhere to record? Or
so he sent them over time as they come along, or like sometimes like I'll tell him like, oh, like I have an idea, I have a concept for a song about a breakup, for example. Like there's one song called just Curtains, right? And it's about a relationship of mine that ended and feeling like suicidal and like broken from that because it was just such a fucking traumatic ending. So, but I wanted to take that idea of a relationship ending and how like your thoughts could be stuck on somebody, or you could kind of let that person live in your head. And so like one of the lines is in the song is I'm gonna blow my brains out in the shower and wash the thought of you down the drain. And so that's like one of the lines on that. So I told him, I was like, okay, I want a beat where I could hear water dripping in the background so it sounds like a shower. And so he could play this whole and make it like a cinematic piece. This
shit sounds great.
But yeah, so that's been my process. It's been going along. He sent me a few joints out the gate where he's like, these are ones you could just lyrically snap on, because I'm very big on that, especially when people first hear me. Like I feel like, and this is just how I listen to artists, is like I like to know somebody is lyrically like they care enough about their craft to where I want to listen to a message. Like I'm very picky with that. So yeah, that's when October left, and I just started writing my second project actually. So that one doesn't have a name yet, but that's gonna be my hardest, like most in your face album for me.
You can have some dope producers on there.
Oh yeah, it's all produced by Relentless the Tangible. At Massachusetts. He's been doing it for forever. He's worked with like Tragic Allies, SD Neck, like he's in that pocket of hip hop, and he's been doing it for years. He's like toured with Rex and shit, So, and he was a huge influence in terms of local cats for me coming up. So I was like, man, like I want like my big project to be like, I want, and he has a very, if I were to compare his sound, he reminds me of like, RZA back in '98. Like it's very dusty, distorted, fucking,
Boom, bap,
Sick.
boom, boom, bap.
Exact boom bap, son. Got the 90 for you.
Yeah, you know what's coming. Hell yeah, the novation for the bass lines. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so we got that stuff coming out. That's all dope and great. And I mean, right now is pretty much where we wrap up. If you got anything that you want to like perform or show off for anybody, now would be the time. And if you do, after we're done, we'll stop and we'll do any final shout outs and plugs and wrap up after you're done. So if you got something you want to play or perform, now would be the time, my man.
Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, we did some talking. I was like, I'll spit something. So I'm gonna just do an acapella of this so people could just hear the lyrics where's the forefront. So this is a song called Crazy Stuff. Just called Crazy Stuff. Mainly because at the beginning it samples Joe Rogan. Like being like, what do you mean? What do you mean crazy stuff? So it goes like this. Yo. Staple scalps to mannequins, wigging out, thinking about chasing down an ambulance and shooting at it, hoping the bullets go through the back and leave your medulla splattered. These dumb broads getting 1-star Uber snatched up, trunk popped, losing parts and moving traffic as I'm cruising past you, swerving, burning rubber like pissed exes, sick method to spit. I've been vexed, you better tell your bitch to check her lip crevice. Slit necks in halfway, grab braids, pull your fucking head back and use the open throw hole as an ashtray. Chronic addicted since I tossed out my doctor prescriptions, misogynistic, narcissistic, what's with this istics shit, fist net rip, dead bitch lipstick kiss, fist in like a ventriloquist. I'm making jaws drop. Paranoah is taking control. I'm just tagging along, dragging a jagged blade across your waist and pulling skin down till it looks like pants are sagging off y'all. Maniac like Elijah Wood. I'm addicted to violence. Get your kitchen appliance took. My mind's a mush, kind of looking like Sloppy Joe. I'm a devil's reject like Rob Zombie. Traumatized. A Barbie thrown through your daughter's eye. Homicide of the fence. No line walking. My mind is inspired by Clive Barker. I'm an unsigned artist. But licensed hitman. Sniper rifle with the kickstand and the kickback make you feel like a fist landed from Hitman. 1 2 1 2. Fuck karate. Big. I was like para-practice gun fu. Black Magnum clap and bust you. Make your body flip like Jackie Chan acrobatic stunt moves. Playing Russian roulette. Too depressed to take fate in my own hands. It's like I was programmed since birth to enjoy the kill. Enjoy the thrill of pointless killing. Poisonous oil spills. Soiled sheets, strangling prima donnas, squeezing on her esophagus, breathing hard while mocking her lack of oxygen, catatonic, opposing threats, emotionless, sociopath. Last quote, I wrote it dope so nobody won't forget it. I said, girl, you can lean on me. I ain't talking codependence. Devil's heckling, wrestling in my head again, tug of war, and I'm never snoring, tormented and restless. So that's that joint.
Hell yeah. That's fire.
Thank you, my man.
Good bars. Fucking bars.
Yep. So that's off when October left. And I already got the music video shot for that. We went to an abandoned insane asylum.
Yeah, that's what's up. What do you think, Justin? Oh, your mic's off.
Oh, shit.
I'll get you. Here we go.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. Bars. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot.
Hell yeah.
Hey, man.
Some Jedi mind shit.
Mm-hmm. you could hear that.
Yeah, I can hear that influence. Yeah.
Yeah, no, can't wait to hear the that project when it comes out, man. Hell yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And actually, real quick, I actually just put something down so fucking ill for it where I was like, I don't care if it's on paper, I was just gonna share this shit. So this is like on an intro to a track where it's just building up, right?
Yeah.
I said, maybe what they're saying is right, and I'm full of hubris and delusional. But delusion's all perspective, isn't it? Reflecting in and projecting pictures, or viewing images at separate distances. For instance, depending on how close you hold a photograph, holding it back too far and you're gonna miss the nuance, but holding it too close results in only seeing a few parts, completely missing the point, like engines with no pistons, women with no dishes, tits, hips, or a clitoris. I'm just kidding. It's more like I enjoy being at the position of indifference.
Ooh. Ooh.
Mars. Hell yeah, man. We can't wait for this project to come out, man. So it's gonna be on all streaming platforms and everything when you drop it, so we can listen to like on Spotify and Apple Music and all that shit.
Oh yes, Spotify, Apple. I'm gonna do Bandcamp. I'm gonna do a limited run of physical copies for people that still like CDs. I'm mainly doing it for myself.
Yeah.
You get some fucking like limited some vinyl pressings of that, even if it's just for yourself, because I've been wanting to do that too for a long time, and I heard people have done that and with great success. And there's a bunch of I know there's some local ones down in Massachusetts that do it too, but I know there's some online that do a pretty good job also. But just a really cool idea to have a fucking vinyl of like a project.
Vinyl's coming back, yo.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. I got my collection. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's making a comeback, and it would be a dope thing to do. And if you did do it, you know what I mean, just let me know, and I definitely would get a vinyl for sure, bro. If you had that shit.
Word, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
On my wall, you know what I mean? Put shit up there. But yeah, any last shout outs, plugs, or anything like that? You want to say what up to anybody? Give anybody any shout outs? Plug anything you got?
Shit, shout out Bars Over Bars, you know what I'm saying? Shout Beach, shout Joshua, shout, Prophecy Podcast. I want to shout out my uncle Jason for really pushing me to do this in the first place and really go forth and kind of always being that person, that kind of mentor. As well as Seti Zoo from the Freestyle Clinic.
Yeah.
Shout out to Freestyle Clinic in general out of Everett, Mass. That was a cipher we went to every Monday before the pandemic kicked off, and it was strictly freestyle, and it was that was the best shit. That was like church for me. So shout out Freestyle Clinic. Shout out Rec Shop Movement out of Massachusetts. Hey, shout out my mom. Shout out my mom for always playing hip hop.
Always out there that are watching or will watch. I know my mother sometimes watches live, but always watches on YouTube. So
yeah, and always being supportive, and I've had, I've been lucky to have that as part of just network in general. Whether it's Hero or just the friends I have, my good friend Connor, that I grew up with, that were always kind of, like reassuring, but not in an unhealthy way. Like, like I always came up around people that like would call you out on your bullshit, like if you're like on some shit or, but we're supportive in like the right ways and, reminded like, friends remind me not to compromise my art and shit because, coming up in ciphers, it was very, and especially in this time too, there was a lot of like pushback for like how I rapped, and people were like, "Oh, like you're fucking like, it's the whole like political correct thing, So it was hard, and I used to question myself with the shit, but now I'm like going. So I want to thank the Freestyle Clinic.
No, that's good. I'm glad that we were able to do this episode today. Again, we appreciate you coming through, bro. And I do want to give out final shout outs to MPC stuff, On Fore, I Regret Nothing, Apparel, Bars Over Bars, obviously, for putting everything on, and co-host cousin Justin for hanging out with us here tonight. Also,
yes, great meeting you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Paranoah for coming. Shout out to Jenny Broadway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for hanging, Jenny.
Broadway. Yeah.
Are you shouting out her Instagram?
Oh yeah. Go follow at Miss Jenny Broadway. Her OnlyFans is coming soon. Every music video you see from me At least she tries to. She's made it to every shoot so far.
Every
shit.
shoot.
So she's
It's like Stan Lee in those Marvel movies.
exactly. She's the equivalent of Stan Lee. She's the.
Oh man,
Rest in peace,
All
Stan
right,
Lee.
well, thanks everybody for tuning in. You get to listen to the outro video now, and we'll catch you next Sunday. We got a bunch of stuff this week. You want to watch What's Beef on Tuesday? We got that going on Bars Over Bars, and then we got the Wednesday show with the live review and stuff like that. We got Thursday Beats Over Beats. We got Friday Check the Recipe. I think we got some live shows going on too. On Saturday and Friday, and then Saturday I'm doing cook up beats, and then back here Sunday I got a guest from my hometown. Or around my hometown, Ryan Page, aka Riz, is coming on next week. He's going to talk about a lot about his, he's got a lot of stuff going on in the world of addiction and helping out addicted people, and he's going to be doing a lot. We're talking about his causes and stuff, so it's going to be a great episode. So tune in.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna tune in for that.
Yeah. So tune in for that, and we'll catch you on the flip side. And thanks for tuning in. Take it easy.
Peace.